about nomenclature principles for landscapers. Nomenclature principles has to do with naming the living organisms, sometimes referred to as taxonomy. It's a very orderly process, meaning that we start off with a kingdom, division, class, subclass, order, family, genus, and species. And for you as a landscape contractor, the last three are probably going to be those that you're most likely to encounter and use. For example, purple coneflower is an ordinary native perennial that the botanical name is Echinacea purpurea. It's in the kingdom plant, or plantae, division spermophyte, class angiosperm, subclass dicot, order Asterales, family Asteraceae, and the genus Echinacea with species purpurea. If you take your plant identification course which is a part of this exam, you will learn purple coneflower, Echinacea purpurea. It's a binomial system, meaning there's two names. It's developed by Carl Linné. It's a two-word specific name, genus and species. Each name of these plants has one valid scientific name. Names are based on the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. And if we think about the two names, genus, species, let's just think about the name John Smith and reverse it, Smith John. So the genus is like the Smith. Genus is a generic name for a plant group, and it may be several genera within a family. Acer is a genus for maple trees. Quercus is a genus for oak trees, and so on and so forth. The species or specific epithet could be for one plant and one plant only. So there would only be one Smith John or John Smith. In this case, alba means white. Quercus alba is a white oak. So the variety and cultivar are specific divisions within a species. Variety is a self-perpetuating mutation or offspring that actually slightly differs from the parent species. It doesn't need man and happens naturally. So we may find various varieties growing in a wild or growing from seedlings that are collected from wild plants. Cultivars are man-made or man-maintained offspring that differ very differently from the parent cultivated variety. And so cultivar is a combination of the word cultivate and variety. They have to be asexually propagated by man to get the same plant. There's some rules for writing scientific names. It's Latin, so it needs to be either underlined when handwritten or italicized when typed. The genus, first letter is always capitalized, it's underlined when written or italicized when typed. Species, the first letter is always lowercase, is underlined when written or italicized when typed. So an example, Taxodium distichum, which is a botanical name for ball cypress, is Taxodium distichum. Notice it's in italics with the first letter of the genus in capitalized as T. So we look more fully at things as far as variety. First letter is not capitalized. It is Latin, so it's italicized when typed and underlined when writing. Written after species preceded with abbreviation VAR, meaning variety. An example, Cornus florida, variety rubra, it's a pink flowering dogwood. You see how it's written there, Cornus florida, VAR variety, and the cultivar or variety here, rubra. Cultivars, the first letter is capitalized. It's used in single quotes, indicating that it is a cultivar. So we use that same example. Cornus florida, variety rubra, red cloud. Red cloud is a red form of the pink flowering dogwood that's more darker in color, selected and bred to actually have darker red flowers. Some other rules. Hybrids. It's an interspecific cross indicated with an X. For instance, Abelia grandiflora is a very common plant we refer to as glossy abelia. Intergeneric crosses are two genus crossed to get a new plant, indicated with X in front of the genera. X. capricicypris leylandii is an old name for Leland cypress. Common name has no rules. It can vary from one person to another, from locality to another, from one side of the mountain to another. Magnolia solangiana, sometimes referred to as saucer magnolia, is also known as a tulip tree. Liriodendron tulipifera is also known as a tulip tree or tulip poplar. Some other rules. Scientific names are descriptive. It may describe the plant's habitat, as in nigra, having to do with water. Physical characteristics. Longifolia, having to do with a long leaf. Horizontalis, having to do with a form, growing horizontally. Horizontal. Grandiflora has a large flower. Could have to do with place of origin. Japonica being from Japan, Chinensis from China, and so forth. Ultimately, the species are separately based on reproductive structures in their flowers. Just a reminder, be sure to take the short quiz and read any supplemental materials before you move on to the next presentation of video. These will help you in your development to take the test.